What is going on, my homies? I got something special for you. Since we're kind of disabled and hurting a little bit, I figured it'd be a good time for a tackle shop walkthrough, and this place is sick. I've never been here. I've had so many people tell me to go. We're at Moss Outdoors, dude. It's down in Birmingham, like South Birmingham, kind of near Coosa River places, as well as like Smith Lake guys come down here. And there's a lot of guys who actually come here and they fish Gunnersville, dude. Like they drive up, Gunnersville's about an hour and a half, hour and 15 away. But supposedly they have like crazy JDM stuff. They have new inventory on like the crazy Crush City stuff. So we're gonna go scope it out, do a little walkthrough and check this place out. They have a bunch of stuff, dude. And they do everything from hunting to archery to, of course, fishing, which is my juice. And this is the fishing section over here. And there's a few people I want you to kind of see. So I got my buddy Ryan over here. You got the cast desk. You got freaking Mr. Logan right there. You got Randy Howell. You got all these guys. A bunch of important faces, dude. A bunch of dudes hanging out, kind of chilling, talking fishing. But we'll talk to them in just a minute. We're going to kind of look at some of the selection that they have, some of the stuff. It looks like they got a bunch of Sakamata stuff, dude. A new frilled shad. This is my boy Braxton. He used to fish college fishing. He works here. He actually said he learned to flip from me. I don't know if I believe him, dude.
You taught me how.
He likes to flip that. So you guys actually have the new, this is the hot one that Canel was throwing, right?
Yes, we had them for a day and they all sold out. We had to get them again.
But you got restocked, dude. You got a bunch. That's freaking sweet. And those, so do you guys throw those on lay and stuff like right now? And like, because the bait's small?
Throw them on Martin, throw them on Smith, throw them on anywhere on the Coosa River, they're gonna bite it.
They like them tiny baits like that. This thing has been super duper hot. This absolutely shocked me. I have never seen this many dice baits, dude. These things are so trendy right now, but they do catch them. I just suck at catching them with them. So the koike, you got the urchin. These are these crazy little like dice JDM baits, dude. And they have these weird sort of like phalange dicey forms, and it seems like the ones with the plastic appendages are much better than the ones that have just the jig skirt material. But dude, I've never seen this many stacked on a freaking on top of a shelf. Holy crap. Gotta have you some A-rigs. It's Alabama, right? The home of the Alabama rig. Saw something that I really wanted to show you guys, and this has been a quiet killer for tournaments across Alabama, and that's a scrounger style head, right? So basically it's a bill on a jig head, and it causes the bait on the back to kind of wave, almost like a crankbait, but it fishes upwards instead of downwards. And like Dustin Connell won on Gunnersville with that thing. As we go into winter, a lot of guys throw like, you know, your standard jig head swim bait around these dams, around these kind of like break walls, things like that. This scrounger style head, you know, one of the classics is the Picasso, things along those lines, but it has been absolutely killer for adding a little different kind of side-to-side action to a lot of these cool standard like minnow baits, things that you normally put on a ball head minnow. Like you're actually putting them on a scrounger and you're swimming them, and these fish are reacting differently because they've seen so many like ball head minnows. Plus you can fish it in more of those like classical current situations around the dam, like in places you'd fish like a swim bait, right? And you can put like little swim baits on it too. So like that little cast echo, a Kitech, you can get this different kind of side to side plus the boot tail kick with that scrounger head. It's something you need to try if you haven't done it. I wonder if this is local. I've never seen these. These are like local little like micro flukes, dude. I know we're close to the Coosa River, and like fluke style baits are really big, and I think that's something the Swim X. I showed you guys these black labels. You know, I never thought Cliff Pace is like a big minnow guy, but those are a good, super durable minnow. Of course, they got a massive amount of jackhammers because you have to, and a massive amount of the Evo tungsten. These things are great, especially as we get into winter, because the tungsten runs a little bit like deeper than your standard jackhammer and that, so you can keep that bait down in these ditches. So many jig heads, so much fishing line. I don't think we were supposed to see this. They got a bunch of Sakamatas they're about to stock. We might have to get into a little of that. I'm always stocking me some Sakamatas, dude. Everybody's been talking about the new Yamamoto, the little minnow baits. They have them. It's the hinge minnow. It's got that little kind of flexy sort of tail on it, and it's hinged, so it actually kind of, it does this like swimmy kind of kicky thing, dude. It's been super popular in a lot of the tournaments around here, as well as kind of those late season, those MLF, I think it was the team series that was going on. So this is pretty cool. They got a giant swim bait wall, and I saw my buddy freaking makes these. This is the Tato swim bait. Mr. Heron makes them, dude. And the one I didn't know that they actually have is a little tiny baby one, the 4.5 inch, dude. I have a couple of these, not the little ones, I got the bigger ones. It's a great all-purpose glide. You can kind of swim it, you can pulse it, and then you can chop it as well. But he's got absolutely like sick finishes on him, dude. They're all handmade. They're custom made here in Alabama, which is kind of cool, so it's like a local bait. And of course, you gotta have these guys. Wholesale dangerous, right? For some of those big winter fish. And then there's some import guy, this Australian. This is Mick. He actually owns freaking calves. Put him on video, and then you guys know my buddy Ryan. They're doing a little demo here of this is the Cast X12. That's the braid I throw like scoping stuff, forward facing stuff with. And then we got the little Minnow Dino right there. Is this the new 2.75? Yeah, 2.75. So this is a 2.75 Echo, super tiny, and then the big dong, dude. This season is coming, dude.
There's all our little sneaky rigs, the sneak rig.
Ryan and his sneak rigs. We're gonna actually have to shoot some videos on these. But these guys are good dudes. If you want a cool minnow and if you want good braid, go hit them up, dude. So as we were talking to Mick and Ryan, I saw something, and it's pretty cool. So sneaking behind them, this is their Megabass shelf, dude. And one of the coolest parts, now it's not good for retail because people can thief stuff, but they got a bunch of cameras. Very rarely can you actually get up and like look at every single like Megabass Vision 110, dude, or like take them off the shelf because they're so expensive. They're like $25.99, dude, $26.99. But they have a huge selection of all the little sneaky Megabass stuff, dude, including, you know, the standard, right? The 110s, dude, and a million different colors, the minis, the micros, the +1s, the +2s. Is that a 110 senior? What does that mean? It runs like super slow and it falls over sometimes? That's a bad joke. But they got some crazy, what the hell are these? Dude, I've never seen these. Megabass Fine Art. This is like a custom jerkbait. Those are crazy, dude. What's the price point on those? They're $24.99. They're like custom patterns. I've never seen those before. So last thing, and then we got to get Boxer, get out on the lake. So the new swag, I'm all about these like pre-rigged swim baits, right? You got like the Bass Mafia, the Loaded, and then Z-Man just came out with this guy, and it's the Swag LT. It's got a treble as well as like a back hook on it. It's pre-rigged. Reminds me a little of kind of like the Megabass, but it's made of that crazy 10x tough elastic, so it's gonna have a little different wag to it, a little different floatability, and it definitely has a different style tail. But these things are super cool, especially as we go into that pre-spawn. When they start getting over that grass and you catch them on a trap, you're ripping the trap, you know, and it kind of shuts down and you got to slow down, but you need something that has that sort of like that pulse and wag, but it's subtle. That's gonna be fire, dude. All right guys, we're gonna wrap this thing up, but we're gonna hit two like local kids. So we got Braxton, we got Brody. So these guys are absolute hammers down here around Birmingham on the Coosa River. So I always like to give you a little tip to kind of wrap things up because we're going to get out of Marks and go do a little bit of fishing. If I'm headed out to the lake right now, what would you guys grab? What would you have rigged up? And are you going to act like a bunch of kids and tell me a jig and minnow, dude? That's cool though.
If you want to catch them,
just fire away. Tell me exactly what you do.
The first thing you're going to grab before you go out there for anything, you gotta have line on your rods. You get this cast, you get the cast 12 X12 braid every single time.
That's what we're talking about.
And you go grabbing, you know, jerkbaits big time. It's jerkbait time of year. You go jerkbaits. We got a big Megabass wall back here. You get any jerkbait, every color, every size, everything you need. It's, you know, it's bait oriented. It's all shad oriented. You gotta find the bait. The bait fish are gonna be there.
So jerkbait, what would you have?
Yeah, like you said, it's shad-oriented time of year. Starting to factor into some smaller shads, so I'm going to look more towards, if we are going to go the jig head minnow route, I'm going to look towards the 3.5.
Okay.
That's more something that I feel like they're keyed on this time of year as opposed to something like your 7.2 in this part of the country.
A big dong, dude? You
Dude,
find it intimidating?
I prefer it a little more, you know, summertime,
a little manageable?
Yeah, that's right. We need a little more manageable.
What weight would you run on it, just for your guys who are kind of getting into the jig and minnow thing?
I'm going to say, if depending on water clarity and stuff, and you know your pressure, like barometric pressure and everything, I'm gonna say you want to go from a medium to a heavier head, faster action. You want the aggressive reaction bite this time of year, so I'm gonna go somewhere around 3/16 up to 3/8, somewhere in that window.
Okay, so you're on the heavier end. That's good to know. So if you guys want to go catch them around the Coosa right now and you want to stop in Marks, you can get a bunch of stuff. This shop is super cool. We'll be back down here, dude. It's a little bit of a haul in South Birmingham, but 100% worth it because they have some sneaky ass stuff. We're gonna wrap this thing up. Hit that like and subscribe button. I'll put a link to Marks Outdoors down in the description box below, and grab a jig of minnow, grab a jerkbait, and go slaying on them, dude. Later.